And good morning, Michelle. You've got the con.
All right. Thank you so much. It's great to be here today. I certainly appreciate speaking to this group. We have a showroom as well in Fort Lauderdale, and Joseph DeSantos is our showroom manager there. I'm sure several of you know him or have had interactions in that space. But it's great to have such a nice introduction and warm welcome. So thank you so much, Jeff, and to the entire Boca Theater team for having me today to share this great education and information for all of you. Today, we're going to be covering Interior Technology 101, when residential design meets technology. This is an official CEU course, so this presentation is going to be completely brand agnostic. I'm not going to be speaking about the brand that I represent or any other specific brands. We're just going to give a nice overview of all of the smart home technology solutions that are available today. And I think it's going to be a really great way for you to become more familiar with technologies that are available for you and for your clients. Today's seminar, it's a really great introduction and overview of what we call interior technology. Here you see on the screen are the learning objectives. So first, we're going to take a quick glance at how smart home technology has evolved over the past 50 years. We'll then explore how design meets technology, and we'll really dive into what interior technology is. We'll define that, and we'll speak about the functions and benefits that are relative to the infrastructure of the home, the lighting, the media, integrating all of that together, and then the user interfaces. We'll touch on some common misconceptions, as well as going over all of the different residential applications where you can use these technologies. And, also some interior design considerations when you're thinking about using or specifying technology on your projects. There's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to present to you, and we certainly don't expect you, to walk away knowing everything, but we want and we hope that you walk away feeling inspired with some new ideas of incorporating technology into your designs in the future. Let's get started here. So really, the standard driving experience has been one of the areas when we talk about the evolution of technology that's really driven a lot of the technologies that we experience in the homes today. So do you consider a car to be luxurious and high tech just because you can use a single button to unlock or lock the doors? The alarm will turn off when you hit that button, the headlights come on, and the engine starts. That's a pretty standard driving experience in most cars today. And of course, going beyond that on the car, there's going to be, a single dashboard that's got an LED screen that gives you a nice snapshot of everything that's going on in the car. You can control the HVAC, you can control the music, even stream music right from your phone through your car. And in some cases, even having, your cameras in the back or for a rear display if you're going to be, backing up for added safety and security. For a lot of people, that isn't necessarily considered cutting edge today in a car. It's considered a standard driving experience. And, for some reason, though, people consider those types of things a luxury in their homes and not a standard. But that is quickly changing. And the technology is becoming more and more popular. And smart technology has been designed to take all of that, standard driving experience and to transfer that into the home. So true smart technology is going to simplify the user experience. It's going to enable the efficiency in the home and maximize the possible benefits. So this is a term that's used a lot. And we're going to dive into, exactly what that means and explore how it's evolved in the home. To help us get a little bit of perspective what that means, let's first take a quick look here at the technology timeline and how technology has really evolved, over the last 50 plus years. So 50, plus years ago now, the black and white television came out, and it was something that evolved to the color TV, and then you've got the record, if you can remember that, the compact cassette, compact disc or CD, iPod, and then came the iPad. It's amazing to think, everyone uses these types of smart tablets today. It's amazing to think that it's really
has joined the meeting.
only been in the last 10 years. So there's been a lot of change in technology, of course. Now, this is a really profound chart here that shows the technology adoption rates to get to 50 million users. And it's not because you can really see here that it took the radio, 38 years to reach 50 million users. But for the iPod or for, the computer, it only took 4 or 3 years to reach that. And then for Facebook, it only took 2 years to reach 50 million users. So what this really clearly depicts to us is that more and more people are using technology. Of course, the internet has contributed substantially to that growth, but technology is being adopted at a much, much faster rate than ever before. Now, we have seen all of these new technologies that have evolved over the years, but controlling them has also been a big part of that evolution. It started out with, the remote controls. And, very early on, of course, when we saw some of those black and white televisions, people had to walk up, you had to have someone in the family that actually used the little knob and changed the channel. Well, when the remote controls came out, that gave people the ability to control that TV device just from the palm of their hand. And then the programmable thermostat was another big evolution in, controlling the technologies in the home. It allows people to automatically adjust the temperature, set a schedule, and have a lot of savings when it comes to HVAC and just control that more efficiently. When it came to things that have to do with the home that are more geared towards entertaining, enhancing the lifestyle in the home, audio distribution speakers and volume control evolved. And that gave the client the ability to choose what they want to listen to in what room and control that volume. And then there was even a technology called X10 that was actually developed in the 60s that allowed communication over existing power lines. And then the big next step to that was wireless. And that is really where we saw, our industry evolve and where this smart home technology really has become a standard expectation in the home. So, could you ever get through your entire day without, touching your smartphone or your device? It's completely unheard of today. This wakes me up. It controls my schedule. It, is truly something that is part of everyone's daily life today. And it's there, and it's something that your clients have expected to be able to control their home, through these types of technology, and they want to interact with technology in a way that they never did before. So as an interior designer, technology is going to have a greater impact on your designs. And that's really something that's happening, whether we like it or not. And the exciting part for you as an interior designer is that it's going to create new opportunities to further experience and shape the space that you're designing. And using technology can really help you as a designer differentiate yourself and your designs. So we want to teach you some of the different ways that you can actually use technology to do that. This brings us to the term interior technology. And interior technology is when the electronic and digital products or systems are applied within a space to shape the experience of a built interior environment. In other It's the use of technology inside of homes and buildings. Very simple term. We're going to use that quite a bit. So now, typically in the past, prior to the pandemic, I would teach these live and I would be able to get a show of hands, but I'm just going to pose this question for you to think about. And don't worry, just be honest when you think about this. Have you ever photoshopped technology out of your project portfolio? We've got this image here on the screen where you've got a few remotes on a coffee table, you've got speakers clearly visible, some audio equipment, a TV, where you may have imagined a beautiful piece of art to be. It's quite common, when you look through magazines like Architectural Digest, a lot of times I may even see projects that I've worked on with our dealers like Boca, and I know there's technology there, but it's not visible in the picture. And, as a designer with Photoshop software, your dream that all that technology was never there can really become a reality, right? You can make it look the way that you want to and have that beautiful aesthetic there. But is having no technology there really the best design for the user's experience? That's really a question to think about. So that leads us to, what makes a good design? It really is a combination of form and function, balancing aesthetics with utility. So we want it to look good. We want to maintain that design vision that you have as an interior designer, but we also want it to work well. A really visually pleasing chair may look good, but if you can't sit in it comfortably,
has left the meeting.
then it's just art and not a well-designed piece of furniture, of course. So in a recent presentation, Margaret Russell of Architectural Digest mentioned that they published some photos of projects that include people in them because at the end of the day, someone actually lives in that beautiful space, and it was designed with that fact in mind. So there are many design professionals like yourself that really do question if finding a balance between design and interior technology is possible. So let's explore that a little bit further to clearly answer that question. Design meeting technology is a growing theme because of that demand that the client has to have technology in the home. But we also want there to be that balance of physical and social context of the space. So we want to have automation in the space and experience the reality that it can be done beautifully. We want to, acknowledge that you as a designer don't need to become a technology expert by any means. You don't need to know about high definition or the cloud or have some type of wireless communication. You don't need to be a master at all of those by any means. It's really just about educating yourself and your client on ways to explore and enhance their lifestyle with technology, and collaborating really as early as possible with all parties involved on the project. And the ultimate goal here is that your vision is maintained and then also enhanced with the technology that the client will have in the space. So I mentioned, collaborating very early, and since technology is rapidly evolving, the field of interior technology designers, as we call it, is as well. And these are people within our industry, the smart technology industry, and they're sometimes referred to as an integrator or a electronic systems contractor, AV dealer, low voltage installer, home theater specialist, speaker guy, among many, many other terms to define our industry and the dealers out there. And they're going to have various level of expertise and specialization, of course, but the responsibilities of what we're going to refer to, we're going to lump all of those different things that they're referred to into one. We're going to call them interior technology designers. So they are responsible for designing the system, working hand in hand beside you, the installation of that system, programming the system, maintaining it, and servicing it, because it really is a long-term commitment for your client. And collaborating early with them really allows to have the most successful installations. So to give you an example, there have been some cases where the interior designer and the system integrator or interior technology designer haven't worked together as a team. And as a result, the client can then end up with unsightly banks of light switches or TVs and speakers that aren't placed in the right location. So really, when they collaborate with you as the interior designer, it's going to be the best way to balance the aesthetic of your design vision and then also the functionality of the technology that the client will want in the space. As we dig deeper into this, first we're going to cover the importance of interior technology and the different categories that are involved in that. I'm going to also explain the function and benefits that are relative to the infrastructure, lighting control systems, media integration, and the user interfaces. So we're going to dive into these a little bit deeper on the next slide. The infrastructure of a system is going to be all of the wires and cables. It's very simple. That's what it refers to when we use the term infrastructure. So typically in a project, there's going to be a central location in that project, and that's going to be called a hub or also referred to as a head end in some projects. The infrastructure of the home is going to be very important because it's going to give the client and ensure connectivity. It's going to establish a foundation of the electronic architecture of the home or building, and it's going to enable control of that technology for what the client wants today and then also what the client might want in the future. These are very important conversations to have because the infrastructure can really allow the client to be able to scale that system as their needs change during the times that they're in the home. So it's a very important thing to talk about with that interior technology design early on. The next category that we're going to talk about is the lighting control system. A lighting control system in a home is typically the most popular and the most common type of smart home technology that a client might ask for. And a lighting control system is going to automate the lighting. So instead of using standard lighting control, so that's basic switches and dimmers, the lights in the space are going to be automated and they can be controlled together, much like you kind of see depicted here in the floor plan image. The installation can be done in a couple of different types of ways. The first is a centralized installation, and this is where all of the fixtures are home run wired. So going back to that infrastructure, they're home run wired back to a central dimming panel, which looks something like you can see over here in that garage space there. The second way is localized, and that's where the line voltage is wired in a conventional style, but it's controllable dimmers and switches are used instead, meaning they're smart dimmers and switches that are used to control the lights that are ran in a localized conventional wired way. There's also a third option, which is called hybrid. And that's where you have a combination of two. So the diagram shows a hybrid where all lights in the main part of the home are wired back to the dimming panel. And that's located here in the garage. And low voltage wire is used for the touchscreens and the keypads that are placed in each room. Then in other secondary areas like storage and utility here, those are actually using the conventional wiring, and a local wireless smart dimmer is then used to communicate with the system. So there's a lot of benefits of lighting control. The main benefit benefits are aesthetics, convenience, energy savings, safety, and security. And we'll explore those benefits further when we look into those different applications. A lighting control system is going to include both electric light and daylight. Any type of lighting load can be controlled, but it's important to know what the load types are, as that determines the type of equipment needed. So a lighting load schedule is a really great, important document to talk about and collaborate with, with your interior technology professional. Electric light fixtures are going to include all different types of fixtures, and then of course table and floor lamps as well. The most common load types today, of course, being LED, both forward and reverse phase, and then even 0 to 10 volt is another very common form of lighting control today. Daylight is controlled using motorized drapes and shades, and it's a really great thing when a client has electric and daylight control to be able to use an example for daylight harvesting, letting the natural daylight in by lifting up those motorized shades and turning off that electric lighting inside. And we'll talk about that a little bit more again in the application part of the presentation. Media is the next category, and that refers to the audio and the video. A source is a component such as a cable box, a Blu-ray player, maybe a gaming console that your client likes, or any type of media server that contains what they like to watch, which stores and organizes the content that the client would want to be able to view or hear in their home. A display device is where the video content from a source is viewed. So in other words, that's a TV. Anywhere where you're going to see pictures or images is considered a display for the client. A TV, a screen, or a monitor is going to be the most common. Speakers are, of course, where the audio or sound is going to be coming from, where they're going to hear the sources that they like to choose. The speakers themselves, they can be installed in the ceiling, in wall, on the wall, even hidden behind the walls completely. There's a lot of different options when it comes to that. And it does really allow you to blend with the room decor and not have to compromise the quality of the sound. Many, many options that the interior technology designer can go through with you to let you know what those are. And although the placement of those speakers really is key to the overall experience of the client, audio and video can be distributed to multiple rooms or areas from a single source. So you can choose wherever you want to listen to that music. So for example, if you want to listen to and stream your Sonos station of your choice, your Sonos favorite, you can select that source in any room, and then with distributed audio, you can actually route that source to speakers in the kitchen or outdoors by the pool, which is really a great thing for entertaining. Clients love it for that reason. As a whole, people want media systems for entertainment and family time, mainly because they can be placed anywhere, even in the outdoors. And there's even an option for follow me music and video, to where you watching a movie downstairs and then go upstairs and be able to finish watching it using that same source without having to have multiple cable boxes or multiple sources in every room of your home. You can just select that source on any display, which is a really great feature for clients. The next thing here is a really great demonstration of how you might want to actually hide and blend those media displays in with your design. So as you can see here on this slide, we have a couple of examples of how to do that. Up here in this sitting room area above the fireplace, you can see that looks like a TV above there, but when that TV is turned off and when that source is turned off, that actually becomes a full mirror. So you can have a beautiful mirror above the fireplace and you don't have to worry about having that display there that is just, a black hole essentially in the room when it's turned off, which is about 80% of the time actually. So this is a really great solution. You can also do that in a restroom setting or a powder room setting. These are quite common in luxury hotels or in some of the more luxury restaurants, public bathrooms and whatnot. I've seen these quite a bit, but also in your clients' homes. So this is a display that goes right behind a larger mirror. And when it's off, it just blends completely in. It becomes a full mirror, but when the client wants to view that source, they have a way to enjoy that without having to have an actual display or TV on the wall in the restroom. There's also a number of different type of lifts that can have the display or the TV, flip up into compartments in the ceiling to where they can be completely hidden when they're not being viewed, or even different types of custom millwork and cabinetry that can, again, completely hide those TVs when they're not being used and have your design right there at the forefront. The same can be done for speakers. As you can see here in these images, we have a variety of some of those different speaker types that we talked about in the media section. So of course you can have speakers to the left and right of your display or TV, which is common. To help those blend a little bit more into the design of the room, those speaker grills can be painted any custom color or finish to do so. The same can be done in this example down here. You can see another way that this is actually a bezel-less example with a painted grill. Helps it blend even more so. And then I mentioned not being able to see the speakers at all. Well, that's referred to as an invisible speaker. And you can see kind of how this is done here. So the speaker itself actually gets put right into the framing and it's mudded over. These are specialty speakers designed to do that. So the quality of the sound is still there and you can absolutely not see them at all. I always do recommend to my designers, though, you want to make sure that that interior technology designer or that integrator accurately documents where they are, because I've heard stories before where a client has hung a piece of art right where an invisible speaker is, and that can definitely be a costly mistake. So documentation is key for that solution, but a really, really beautiful way to do it. And then, of course, in the outdoor space, there are a lot of speakers today that have been designed just like landscape equipment. So different types of landscape lighting, it blends in seamlessly. As you can see here, this is actually a speaker and this is a subwoofer that's buried underground. And all you see is this small device here at the top so that the sound can come out. And it really can enhance the client's lifestyle in your vision in the outdoor space. I know you've got some beautiful outdoor spaces in Florida, so great way to enjoy that. Integrated technology or integrated home technology is when all of this technology in these different categories that we just went through that are in a home are going to communicate together in an intelligent way to simplify life. And the control system is really the foundation of that. Okay. This is going to apply to residential or even to commercial projects as well, if any of you design commercial. And it's commonly referred to as integrated home technology or integrated building technology. And it just basically takes all of those categories and ties them together into a really seamless way so that your client can simply control all of these technology systems. User interfaces are going to be how the client interacts with the interior technology. And I'm sure you all as designers are cringing at the images on this slide here. The more traditional ones, or the more traditional user interfaces, are light switches, thermostats, and remote controls, of course. Each type of interior technology will have its own interface or its own way to control it, of course. If it's not integrated seamlessly together with that control system that we talked about, it can absolutely lead to a lot of wall clutter and even table clutter in some cases, and really a reality of the world we live in today, app clutter on your phone. So we might think that a light switch is simple, but when there are 13 of them together in one spot, just like in this middle photo that we see here, it's really not so simple after all. If you've ever walked into a space that has these and you don't know which switch is controlling what, hitting all of those paddle switches, it can be quite difficult to control. So not only is it going to be unpleasing to the eye, but it's also more difficult for the client to interact and use that system. User interfaces are the #1 element that you can provide guidance and encourage your client to consider when designing a project. So we're going to go through what those user interfaces are when you have integrated technology. So this looks much better, right? There are 3 types of user interface categories. One is going to be the controllable dimmers and switches. You'll also have your keypads and then your touch screens. Since this is going to be how the client is going to interact with the system, it's going to be the first point of frustration for a client if it's not designed into the project well. So it's a really important decision to make and to collaborate on early. Touch screens themselves come in 3 types. They come in wall mount, tabletop, handheld remotes, and then also mobile devices just like your phone. Touchscreens, they're great because they offer flexibility. The screen can be personalized, and they come in a variety of different sizes and options for the client to interact with. A really good example of a space where you might want to have a larger touchscreen is in a kitchen where you're going to have limited wall space to put that. And having a larger screen in a space like that, it can also function as a command and control center for the entire home. You're going to have more real estate to work with to control things. And in some cases, it can even double as a high definition TV display when it's used with an integrated system. So it's going to save the precious space that's on the project. And from that same screen, the client can also watch a show, but they can keep an eye on the kids in the pool if they have those surveillance cameras in place. Another user interface that's not a touchscreen, but is very promising and very used by clients today is voice technology. There's a lot of them out there, and I think that with everything going on with this pandemic, people are going to be, wanting to use voice technology potentially more than ever because you don't have to interact or touch anything for that. So just, some things to think about and consider. Now, when it comes to these user interfaces that we've talked about, we again want to make sure we have that balance between the interface and your design. So here are just some great examples of flush mounting and matching finishes that they can have. You, of course, want to make sure that you plan very early on for this, but it can truly make these user interfaces blend in very seamlessly. Now we're going to take a look at the residential applications of interior technology. These are very scalable. They can be a single room, multiple rooms, just a few key rooms in the home, the whole home, or even the outdoor space as well. A lot of clients, in some cases, and some of them might want to start small, and then they're going to be able to have the option to scale up later. So it's very important to choose a brand that can do that effectively. And again, going back to that infrastructure that's planned for in advance with the infrastructure of the home. These types of technologies can really be incorporated into every construction stage. So new construction is going to be the most common, but it can also be used in a renovation or remodel. And then for existing homes, retrofit options are available as well using wireless technologies in many cases. So it's really never too late to incorporate technology into your project. Now let's look at the residential applications when it comes to aesthetics. Sleek touchscreen, like you see in the image here, can really kind of complement the design of a room rather than detract or take up a lot of wall space. If you had to control everything in this image here, the lights, the shades, the audio, you would have to have a lot of that wall clutter that we talked about. But having just a simple, sleek touchscreen can truly help make that look beautiful and also function well. By adjusting lights in different architectural and design details have the ability to be emphasized. So really in this residential application, the aesthetics is the ambiance of the space. And if you have, gorgeous stone countertops or wood carving and the right light level is going to help really maximize the beauty of what you've designed and focus on the details that you've created. The right lighting, shade setting, music, and video can just really come together and set the appropriate ambiance and mood of the space and just really enhance your client's lifestyle in the home. It makes a big difference, and technology can certainly be used to enhance that. Here's a couple examples of that in a morning scene. You're going to have the shades open. You've got, lights on. There's nothing on the TV. If we were to go on to entertain, the music comes up a bit, the lights dim, and the shades are going to come down a bit. And then in a watch movie scenario, the lights might dim even more. The shades are going to go down further and the movie comes on automatically. The look and feel of the room has changed each time very easily with the push of one button, and it's able to really accommodate that client's experience in their home and just simplify their lifestyle and enhance it with that technology. Now we're going to look at the application of adding convenience. So easy one-touch control, like we just showed there in the pictures of those scenes, it can really make a lot of multiple things happen at once within the home. So for example, it may adjust the lights and the thermostat and also even turn on some background music. Away can turn everything off. It can leave some of the outdoor lights on. It can bring down the shades, set the temperature, and the security system as well. So it really can just enhance that. Clients can use their mobile device to control that from wherever they are within the world, and also, of course, the voice technology. But it really allows that client to have everything perfectly set, and it's all customized to them and their lifestyle as well. For the application of safety and security, there's often a button that can be programmed into these systems for panic. And if a security system is automatically triggered, it can cause the interior lights to come on to 100%. Exterior lights can even flash, so authorities can easily identify the home. If there's a smoke detector alarm, it can automatically light a safe pathway and shut down the HVAC system, and the audio system, can even play a recording of mom's voice saying, remember, we'll meet out back under the big tree. So it's really amazing what you can do with this type of technology to add safety and security. And another addition to that is giving the client the peace of mind of knowing that they can view their surveillance cameras from any touchscreen or from their mobile device anywhere in the world. You don't get into a dark car, right? So why should you walk into a dark house? It can have everything set for you so that at a certain time of day, when it starts to get dark, the lights automatically come on key areas and you feel that added safety and security. Another application is for energy efficiency. So dimming a light and controlling the dimming in a home can save electricity, and it can also substantially help sustainability and extend the life of the lamp. As an example, dimming 50% is going to save 50% of your electricity. Make that particular lamp last 20 times longer than it would before. You can also incorporate things like occupancy sensors so that lights go on and off if someone enters or exits a room. And doing things like daylight harvesting, which I mentioned when you have the electric and the daylight control, can really allow the client to balance the light in a home, of course, with natural and artificial light. But by doing that automatically, it can have a substantial energy savings on the home. A very popular application is also aging in place. So the goal of aging in place technology is to enable a person to stay living in their home independently for as long as possible. It can be individually tailored or customized. It can be very scalable to where it can be affordable. We want it to be non-intrusive as well. So you can put different types of proactive and complement reactive devices such as emergency response technology into homes. So now there's more peace of mind for the caregivers and the family members as well. Just to give a very, very brief example of that, there can be sensors placed in the floor next to the bed. If mom is typically up by 7, and that sensor hasn't been triggered by 8, it can automatically send a notification to the caregiver or the family member to come and check. So it just adds peace of mind, and technology is really used in that way today. So there are a lot of common misconceptions about interior technology, and I think it's important to address some of these. The first is, it's too complicated, or it's just a luxury product. Installation timing is not important, or it all looks and sounds the same. It's not dependable, too expensive. But really, all of these misconceptions out there are really things that through client education, the options available can really help address any of these misconceptions about technology. There are many solutions available today that address all of these concerns, and collaborating between everyone involved in the project and that interior technology designer early on is just so important, so that the client is able to then make an informed decision about what they find value in, and trust that everyone will work together on a good design to meet their needs. So some interior technology design considerations. There are design considerations that you want to keep in mind when you're thinking about incorporating technology in your designs. You want to plan early and collaborate with that interior technology designer. You want to have a clearly defined scope of work that has a timeline, along with accurate documentation. That's going to really be key. You want to determine where the equipment placement will be, and also the different user interface styles and locations, and then address the client's needs and expectations for now and also for the future, so that all of that proper infrastructure can be in place. To summarize what you learned and what we went over today, we reviewed a lot of information. So good job for all of you staying with me, especially virtually, for all of this time. So let's just jump into this. So we highlighted how smart home technology has evolved over the past 50 years. We explored that concept of when design meets technology. We also defined interior technology, its functions and benefits relative to the infrastructure, lighting, media, integration, and user interface. You've seen how it's used in different residential applications and are now aware of common misconceptions and important design considerations. So as I said at the beginning, I don't expect you to remember all of this, of course, but I do hope that you walk away with some new ideas and inspiration to incorporate technology into your designs. That's the key to all of it. So that concludes the official course. And I want to open up the floor to Jeff and to any questions that you might have for us.
Thanks, Michelle. Really appreciate the presentation. I think it was very, very good. I want to throw out a couple of resources. There's a website, htacertified.org, that I just put it up in the chat window there, that you can look at to find resources, technology resources for your scale of project in the area. There's also a budget calculator on there that is kind of interesting to go through, if nothing else than to look at the categories that Michelle discussed and to just sort of be aware of them. Because it pretty much goes through everything that she talked about, and it does give some scoping in terms of costs if the end user is interested. One of the other things that came up, you know, you're talking about hiding displays. We've been doing a lot of work with Black Dove lately, and I think it's the coolest thing, this digital artwork. There's apps built into, native apps into like Samsung and Sony and LG and whatnot that can go out to a website and pull down digital art. So you don't necessarily have to hide that screen anymore. You might want it to be loud and proud, seeing as some of these things are so thin these days. They're actually pieces of art in and of themselves.
Yeah, it's really a beautiful solution, and they are one of our integrated partners as well. So they, you know, integrate with all of those different technologies that we talked about, really in a great way. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, we're actually installing digital canvases today or this week, not today, at a client. Where, think of it as like the old Sony picture frame, but on steroids. It's literally hanging on the wall. It doesn't, you know, it's not a TV. There's no HDMI port or cable box or whatever. It's there for one purpose only, and that's to display artwork. And so I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if there's any questions there. I did want to make a comment on equipment closets. That seems to be the from an AV integrator point of view, the thing that, you know, really needs planning up front. Where is the equipment going to go? And is that equipment closet accessible? Is it properly ventilated? And is it of the right size and depth? You know, we don't want to steal part of a master bedroom closet because it's the only thing left, or a linen closet. These things are valuable spaces. Years ago, everyone figured out that an air conditioner is better in a closet, and no one seems to have a problem with that. But with equipment, we're always trying to hide it somewhere, which just makes it really difficult to do a professional job on something when it's overheating and getting full of dust, and every time you go to touch with it, something gets disconnected because it's not accessible. So that is another good thing to discuss, you know, right up front during the design of the home or the renovation of the home. One other thing I'm glad you touched on, Michelle, because frankly, I had not seen this presentation until today. There's a big confusion out there between automation and control. You know, we're Boca Theater and automation, not Boca Theater and control. Control means you've got a whole bunch of remotes or whatever to turn things on and off, keypads and so on. Automation is what you were talking about. I go into the pantry, a motion sensor detects motion, turns on the light in the pantry, and when I walk away, eventually it shuts off on its own. That's automation. And a light switch on the wall, that's control. So when we start thinking automation, the scene buttons that you mentioned, you hit one button, dinner, entertain, you know, whatever, and it, you know, all these things happen at once. That's what we're really going after, where the house is working with you and customized for your lifestyle.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not seeing any questions. Everybody is muted, so I'm going to go through and unmute in case you're talking and we're just not hearing you. Let's see here. All right, so everybody is unmuted. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
No, okay.
Just one last little housekeeping item. I believe Marcio is going to be following up with everyone. We want to make sure that we get your IDCEC numbers so that we can report your class, so you get credit for that. We're also going to be issuing digital versions of a certificate of completion for the course. We'll get those over to Marcio and he'll distribute those to all of you. And then, the official CEU portion is done. Jeff, did you want me to talk a little bit about that design build program and Crestron, or do we want to
Yeah,
save it for
I
the
think that
next
would be
one?
great. We have a few minutes here, and I think it's valuable.
Okay, absolutely. So I'm going to just now take off my official CEU hat and put on my Crestron hat. So like Jeff mentioned, I am our director of business development. I work hand in hand with design build professionals like you, providing resources and basically acting as an extension for companies like Boca, and being able to provide you with all of the education and resources on technology. So Crestron is a really unique brand because we actually provide the full end-to-end technology solution. So all of those categories that we went through, we provide solutions that can integrate that all together in a very seamless way. And we have a number of different types of technologies that can do that, either fully custom or something called Crestron Home, which is a system that doesn't require programming and allows a client to just simply configure that. So I'm going to show you a little video of that on the upcoming presentations that we have, since we have a few more. But what Jeff and I talked about and what we really want to focus on today is going to be a resource that we have for all of you as design build professionals, which is our design build professional program. So everything about this program can be found on our website here, crestron.com/DBP. This is a program, for all types of design build professionals, but what's relevant to everyone on the call today here, interior designers, as well, as architects, builders, lighting designers, developers, and electrical engineers. So the benefits of this program, there's many benefits here. The referral incentive program, where you would receive 5% on retail value of the Crestron product that's on those projects. Also, the best way to experience this type of technology and to feel comfortable talking about it with your clients is really to experience it in your personal life. So we've got a really great personal use discount. It's 75 off of MSRP. That's for Crestron product for your office, your showroom, or your personal home. That's going to be up to a $15,000 product value for that. But it's a really great way for you to interact and become comfortable with the technology, to be able to, introduce it to your clients, of course. You also get preferred access to our design showrooms. So we've got one right in Fort Lauderdale at the Dakota building. We also have them in New York City, Houston, Texas, as well. Scottsdale, which is the one that's in my neck of the woods over here in the West. We also offer state-of-the-art design tools, and I'm going to show you exactly what those options are. Invitations to events, doing a lot of virtual things like this, and then the CEU courses like we did today, and the education. So these are the design tools that you're eligible to receive as a partner, free of charge. The shade fabric binder, we have over 450 fabrics. We also have the Hartman and Forbes sample box. They're a partner of ours and provide 50 unique hand woven shades. If you've ever used Hartman and Forbes, really beautiful bespoke solution for your clients. And then for those keypad user interfaces that we talked about, we have the color ring sample of the plastic options, and then there's also a metal option we call Elegance. You can get those samples as well. So all of those are available to you free of charge. Again, we want you to feel comfortable with the solutions. If you are interested, the requirements to become a partner are to complete, an agreement and a W-9, provide your credentials, which typically we verify today through websites, since everyone has business websites, register your projects. You're working with, Boca, for example, on a Smith project. And also we ask that you partner with a participating Crestron technology professional. They need to be an authorized dealer of ours. Attend an annual seminar, which guess what? You just met that requirement right now. And of course, we want to collaborate with you. You know, we are a technology company, but we really value our relationship with the design build industry. And we want to hear, you know, what you're passionate about, what your vision is. If we're missing the mark in some area of our technology, or you need more options from aesthetics, we want to hear about it, and be able to provide you with what you need. So that concludes it. I'm a little bit over on time. I respect everyone's time. I know we're all very busy, so that's enough for me. But thank you so much, and thanks again to Jeff and the Boca Theater team.
Hey, Michelle, we have one question in from Jennifer.
Mhm.
Do you have an Orange County, California location? We're working on a place in Laguna.
Yes, so we do. We have an experience center, which is in Cypress near Long Beach. It is closed at this time because of everything going on, but if you want, we can connect after this. I can get your information from Marcio and Jeff, and I can get you any resources that you need in the time being and be able to help you in that market.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Michelle. It was a great presentation. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Marcio, do you have any last words? Marcio is our Director of Marketing that actually put all this on. He's the silent brains behind the entire activity here. No, I guess he's still muted. Okay. Well, with that, we'll conclude.
I think there
Thank
was
you very
one
much
other
for attending.
question that came in right now. I saw it like
Sure.
flash up.
Oh, can you join the program even if you don't have a project?
Yes, the answer is yes, you absolutely can. So Marcio and Jeff will be your point of contact. We can get you started and going through the process. They have all of that information for you. And yeah, absolutely. You don't have to have a project right now. The whole point, you know, really is to get you all of those tools and resources so that you feel comfortable specifying and designing with technology in the future.
Hey, one last gimme here. I got a note from our Black Dove partners that all ASID members are entitled to a free subscription for personal use of the Black Dove art collection, so you can check that out on your own.
That's really cool.
It's cool. I got one at home. I like it. All right. Well, I guess that concludes our meeting. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and we'll see you next week.